Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the world's greatest podcast. Today's episode is going to be motivational, inspirational, something that you want to share with anybody that you know that likes to make money, wants to change their life, wants to do personal development, is inspiring to maybe pivot and do something different in their life. And this guest is phenomenal. I met him at the Black Male Expo. Shout out to Cece. She connected us. And I'm going to swing the camera over to the side and let him introduce himself, and we're going to get into a conversation. What's up, my dude?
What's up, my G?
How you doing, bro?
Man, I'm doing blessed.
Doing blessed. Good to see you. We're going to give him special applause, everybody. So, you go by Ray Spencer?
Ray Spencer. Some people, they call me the banker.
The banker. Okay. I love that, man. Why did you go by the banker? How did you get that name?
Cause I be in the hood creating mortgages.
Yeah. In the hood, bro, we have a lot to discuss because I feel like this conversation is going to be so informative. Because that whole sentence right there was like, what in the hood? Mortgage? What? How does that happen? I want to start with your origin story, though. I want to start with, people getting to know where you're from and things like that. So, how'd you get to Arizona? Are you from Arizona? Like,
Nah, I'm originally from California.
Okay. And,
Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland, Richmond.
oh, okay. Shout out Bay Area. And how'd you get here in Arizona?
Man, my family, we traveled a lot. So we moved from California. We went to Colorado. I lived in Denver for a little bit in 5 Points, in the hood. And then we went to New Mexico. I lived in Albuquerque for a little bit. Somehow we were going to go back to California and ended up midway running out of money, gas, and ended up in Arizona.
Yeah.
We ain't never left. We've been here on the south side, west side ever since.
Okay. So how long is that? How long have you been here?
20 years.
20 years.
20 years.
Okay. So you pretty mumuch.
Yeah. It's official. Yeah. It's official.
That's what's up, man. When I met you, you had a very inspiring story. You're a great motivational speaker.
Appreciate
it. You shared a story of pretty much just how you changed your life and how you came to make some decisions of, I'm not going to continue to live this way or do these things, and I'm a pivot. You know what I mean? What inspired you to make those changes? And, like from your background, how did you go from that to where you are today?
To be honest, man, only thing that really like motivated me or inspired me was God. It had nothing to do with me. I'm not even really a religious dude like that.
Yeah.
But I just know like it was me going one direction, and God was like, hell no.
Yeah.
You about to go this way, right? Or your life gonna keep getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So the only thing that inspired me to lead me to this point is God. Like God closed so many doors that I was trying to go through on some like gang street stuff, right? Like I was really trying to push it this way. Like I shouldn't be here today. But God was like, nah, I got something better for you. Go this way.
Yeah.
And it took me a while while I was sitting in prison. It probably took me like 8 years of prison time sitting in the hole for me to like really smell what God was trying to open up for me.
Yeah. And in prison, you were sitting in the hole. What is that experience like, man? Like, is that just you with yourself, with your thoughts? Like, this is gonna sound wild. I never really admitted to this anybody, but for some reason, I thought I was gonna go to prison in my life. I just thought it was gonna happen. I just thought it was like a thing that was going to occur. So in my mind, I'm like, if these situations take place, I'm gonna be okay. Like I'm like mentally preparing myself to be okay if I'm in the hole, if I gotta, dealing with all those situations. I've had some pivots in my life, and I had to like figure shit out. And I'm like, there's a time where I'm like, the cops is gonna come get me any day.
Like you was thugging. You was thugging.
It's funny you said, to me, my life was about like my identity. Like, am I a street nigga? Like, what does that even mean? So I had to like reshape my identity. Like, I can check all those boxes off, and I guess I can say that, but is that really who I am? Or am I a father? Am I a man of God? Like, there's so many other things I could be before that, but we accept these other definitions. So I was like, I don't think that's my identity. And I think I was doing that because of just the circumstances. Like, I was who I was when I needed to be that, but I don't have to identify as that.
Which is, so that's something later we'll get into.
Yeah.
To how I got into this point.
Yeah.
It's kind of understanding that.
Yeah.
Identities. A lot of us, even when we grow up in the hood, we think like, yo, I've been like, my grandma was gangbanging but at some point it's like, nah, bro, you was playing in the playground.
Yeah.
Like, you was a kid. You identified as a kid, right? Yeah. That was your identity at the time. Mm-hmm. At some point you start, whatever, got in your first fight. Yeah. Right. Then it's you start thugging a little bit. You got in the little streets. You started falling after your dad if you had one, or your brother. The identities is the number one thing that gets us to leave where we need to be.
Yeah, facts, bro. So I love having a conversation about that, so that people that are watching it can start opening their mind. I feel like that and like traveling are things that open people's minds. Like when you see people living differently, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And, you know, they might be as poor as you are, but they happy in their situation. Or maybe that you see some people that are rich and they're unhappy. You know what I mean? But traveling kind of expands that. But I do want you to answer the question, like, what was the whole, like what was that situation like? Like, I don't want to bring you to a dark place, but I just got those questions, like, what was it like?
So I was in the hole a few times. Mm. When I was younger in the hole, like for me, I was in Madison, right here in Arizona. This was before they built the Joe Pyle was in office, and Joe Pyle was savage. Yeah, he had everybody wearing pink drawers and socks, and he was trying to punk everybody out. Mm-hmm. But we were in Madison Street. It was like the oldest jailhouse before they built 4th Avenue. Mm-hmm. And when you're younger, the hole was cool, right? Because you get time to like entertain yourself. Like we was in there, making beats, beatboxing and rapping, and in events talking to people. Yeah. For me, I was in close custody because I was so angry at that time. Like if I can catch you, right? Like I used to cap my door, right, or jam it, and if I can catch you, I'm on your ass. Yeah. Right? Just because I was bored. Like it wasn't like we wasn't beefing. I was just, bro, let's get the fade in. Let's go. Let's run it. Yeah. So I was doing that with everybody, even officers. I try to catch people. So they ended up putting a padlock on my door, and I couldn't have a cellmate, no nothing. That's how I was living my life. In there, you can talk to people, but there's 2 ways you could talk. We used to talk to the toilet, right? Which is weird because it's weird.
I've heard of that, yeah. Yep.
We used to have to flush the toilet, get all the water out, and then we can have little conversations in the toilet. Yeah. Or through the vents, right? So you don't even get to see people most of the time. You just get to kind of hear their voice. Yeah. Until you run into him and be like, oh, you was that motherfucker that was talking all that shit. Yeah. Right? That's how the hole is when you're younger. Once I got older, the hole, like, that was jail. When I got older, hole and like the prison, it became more depressing. Right? Because you go to Central, which I was at, right? Yeah. That's Florence. I think it's in Florence. I was in Central. You don't really get to see people. That's the weird thing. Like when you walking by to a shower, that's the only time you get to see people. Yeah. There's a basement part of Central and Florence where they put you down in the basement. Yeah. Most of those dudes are lifers. Most of those dudes are cartels. Most of those dudes are like Mexican mafia type dudes, or dudes been locked up for a while. Some of the dudes that are black, they're called Mau Maus. A lot of those dudes are locked down like in a spot called the basement. Yeah. Right, where you don't really get out. Anytime you get out of your cell, you go to this big, tall concrete, like walls are like 30 foot long of just concrete. That's all you get. You get to go outside and the top is open. Mm-hmm. That's it. So you go from there back to your room all day long, and it's depressing, bro. Yeah, it's mad. After a while, you start to lose hope. You start to lose yourself, your own identity. Yeah, right. And then they don't give you anything in there. So for me, because I was always a little knucklehead, they would always take my stuff. I didn't have like books. I didn't have like things I can read or anything like that. I didn't like reading anyway, but I didn't know later to like those things kind of help you entertain your mind. Like the way the human mind works is you gotta feed it. Yes. If you don't feed it, like you start losing your mind a little bit. That's when you start talking to yourself. Right. That's when you start having conversations with yourself, and you start, start building a completely different identity in your mind of someone that you can relate to or correlate to, somebody you can have a relationship to. You start losing your mind. And there, the hole is tough, bro. It's anybody who's been in the hole, like you understand, like it's a breaking moment. Unless you got people around you
Yeah.
that you can interact with every day. Like I was in there with people. I was in there with a whole lot of Mexicans in there. Like they just moved me away from my peoples because as soon as I get around any niggas, right, we about to get it in,
Rapping.
and I'm starting shit,
Yeah.
right. So they was like, all right, we gonna move him over here with all the Mexicans, and they was hella racist, bro. Super racist. Didn't fuck with me, so we didn't really have any conversations, right? Except for me just talking shit and they talking shit. That was it. Outside of that, I was like, you start counting cracks in the wall. You start counting the bricks. You start counting everything to kind of just entertain your mind, right, every day. And after that point, it just gets old. You start to lose yourself and you start to lose reality and grip of what reality it really is.
Oh my god. So is it sounds like some psychological conditioning. Like you have to have a little bit of mental fortitude to like survive in that situation.
All day.
And at what point did you, like, when you look back at that experience, is there like a lesson that you got from it or something that you learned about yourself in that experience?
I would say the best thing I learned is I'm mentally tough.
Yeah, mental toughness.
Mentally, I was already mental tough. So there was when I was in there was a dude, his name was Herschel Reed, right? Herschel Reed was a big buff ass dude. Like this dude was old penitentiary dude, but this dude was still kind of yoked up, still big. And I used to have to weld in front of his door little blocks because this dude would kick all day long, right? Like he would kick his door off.
Oh shit.
And then be on some Hercules shit in there.
Yeah.
Right? This dude was gone, like mentally. Like he been in there. So like when I got in there, he was the only brother that was in there with me. Right.
Yeah.
And he took so much abuse from everybody, from officers to the Hispanic dudes that were in there. And he lost it, bro. He completely lost it.
Yeah.
And he was just on meds and just doing weird stuff.
Yeah.
So when I was in there with him, I was like, man, is this my life? Is this, I'm not turning into this nigga.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
And I had to develop like a strong mental fortitude. And I know it's like, if I don't crack, like he cracked, right, I'm good. We gonna be good. And I did anything I can to kind of stay focused, whether that was working out, right, whether that was, writing on the wall or scratching in it with some, whatever I can scratch into the wall with to kind of count the days and the times. But it just really built up my mental aspect of handling stuff. Like when things come down on me, that's tough, that's stressful, right? I don't get into a state where I'm about to either lose my mind. I don't get into a state like most cats want to just commit suicide. I don't really get into that. I hear it. I know the thoughts. They come to my mind like everybody else. I don't entertain it. And that just helped me develop a strong mental aspect where I can go through anything, bro, and I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said that God was the one that helped with your your pivot or your change. Did that come to you while you were in the hole, or when did God come to you and say, hey Ray, like this is what we're gonna do, but this is what you have to do?
I had a moment where so in there I was in the hole for 2 years. I've been 4 years complete total.
Yeah.
But when I got into the adult side, I was in there for 2 years and I lost it. Like I had this mindset of nothing's gonna break me. And I had this when I was younger. So when I was 14 is when I committed my crime. I was 14 and they were gonna give me 30 years prison time.
Yeah.
And it was a public offender. And across from me, I was looking at my mother, right? And she was completely in tears. Completely in tears, shambled. Like when they was like, hey, the best plea you're gonna get is 30 years, right? At 14, that's crazy. So, and I watched, she broke, right? And we had this crazy eye-to-eye contact, right? From, mother to son.
Yeah.
I could see like, damn, that broke her.
Yeah.
Right? And I cried up a little bit, but I had to suck it up and be like, and I'm not gonna let this break me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a hold strong, right? So mom know I'm good, right?
Yeah.
She's not looking at me like I'm gonna have to write this nigga off.
Yeah.
Right? That was a look she had gave me, and I was like, nah, I gotta toughen up, right? So I held on, right? Kept it tough, and I kept that in my mind that ain't nothing gonna break me. When I got to the hole 8 years later in my prison system, I got broke. And the only person that broke me was me.
Yeah.
And the thoughts that I was thinking and the stuff that I was just on this loop, this pattern of thinking. And I was trying not to go out like homeboy Herschel Reed was going out, right?
Yeah.
But in the process, I did. I blanked out. I can't even tell you what happened to me. I blanked out. I didn't come back until I woke up in the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and a doctor was shoving some fingers down my throat. And when I woke up, like I snapped back and was like instantly on some gangster shit. Like, what the fuck you doing? What's happening? Like, what you trying to do? I thought he was trying to hurt me.
Yeah.
Right. So I came back, and the officers told me later, like, bro, you were like unresponsive in the cell, like for a while. Like, we don't know what happened to you. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
I have no clue what happened.
Oh,
So
wow.
when I got back, I started to get into a mindset of like, I can't let this happen again.
Yeah.
Like, whatever I got to do to get out of this place, I got to do it.
Yeah.
And you were there when I told the story about the lady who was giving out meds. Like, I refused to take meds,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they would always come back and be like, here, man, you're hearing voices. You need something here. They were just giving out pills to you in there. And I was like, nah, I'm not taking no pills. Get out of here.
Yeah.
So when the lady came by with some pills, she was like, Spencer, you want to take some pills? I got your meds for you, right? I was like, sure.
Yeah.
When she opened up a little trap, they had a little metal trap. She opened up the trap, right? I immediately reached and grabbed her arm, right? I was about to snap her little arm. So I had a little arm locked up.
Yeah.
And I was like, bitch, I'm about to break your fucking arm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she just freaked out. And I was like, man, I got to do what I got to do to get out of here, right? And the officer, he's got big old bear can mace in my face, right? And he like, Spencer, put her down. I'm like, well, you sprayed me. I'm snapping this bitch's arm.
Yeah.
And we had a human moment, me and her. Like, I seen that she was terrified, and I like that internally, right? I'm like, white lady, right? I like that. She's scared. She need to be, right? The officer also was scared, and he was like, I don't want to do this, right? Like, come on, bro. Like, no words. He looking at me like,
don't do it.
Come on, bro. Like, like let her go. Like, this ain't like I'm finna snap this bitch's arm all the way off, bro. Like, get me out of here. Mm-hmm. So I'm negotiating with him like, I need something. Give me something, man. Like, I'm losing my mind in here, bro. Like, I'm not going back where I just went, I don't know what happened to me. Mm-hmm. We're not going that route. Give me something, right? I let her go. Mm-hmm. In that moment, I realized, like, I'm human, bro. Everybody human.
Yeah.
So I didn't really want to cause the lady harm. I just didn't want them to do me any harm either.
Yeah.
If I just leave me in here, and I didn't want to go like homeboy, like I said, right? So I was like, I can't get to that. Yeah. I'm too strong for that. Ain't nothing gonna break me. Yeah. And later on, I want to say like a couple of weeks went by, that same officer, he threw a book in my cell, a beat up little book. I still got it to the day, but it's Psycho-Cybernetics is the book, and I gave it out at the event.
Yeah.
That's the book that kind of molded and shaped me. And from there, I kind of seen like God was speaking to me, not just to me, but he spoke to the officer to give me something. Because I wasn't supposed to have anything, and he threw a little book at me. Yeah. I don't know where he got the book from or how he got it or if he read it himself, but he threw a book to me that really shaped and molded who I am today about changing my identity. And I from this point, I believe like that was God's message to me. Like, if you want to get your shit together, nigga, here you go. Right. Yeah. And that was my Bible. That was my manual. And I read it, and it was a blessing. Absolute blessing.
Yeah, bro, that's so powerful. I mean, that part where you got humanized and you humanize the other people around you, and it's about getting your needs met. Like, that survival mode is so embedded in us, not knowing how to get our needs met. So we out here just, wild with it. And, I will snap this lady's arm to get what I need. You know what I mean? And, God spoke to you, and maybe God spoke to you through them in that situation, but that's a real powerful moment. And when you went back to your cell, you start reading that book. Was it at that moment that you decided, I'm not going to be, what's it called? Recidivism. Recidivism. Yeah. That's not going to be one of them, you know what I mean? In and out, or did it take some time for you to figure things out? Like, how did that go?
It took me some time to figure that out.
Yeah, and it usually does for most of us.
This is so prior to this, right? I had an 8th grade literacy.
Yeah.
Right. Like I dropped out. So I went to prison at 14.
Yeah.
I didn't make it to high school.
Yeah.
So, and then in school, I was always fighting. So really my education was 5th grade. Mm-hmm. That's the highest I tested out.
Yeah.
So I couldn't read that well. So I had to learn how to read. I had to learn how to speak. I had to learn how to really talk.
Yeah.
In reading the book, the next thing I got was a dictionary. And I remember this. My father was in the Nation of Islam, and we was all hooked on Malcolm X, right? So he had me reading the Malcolm X books. And I remember when Malcolm X went to prison, he changed his life once he got a dictionary because he learned how to speak to people.
Yes.
Right. So me trying to read, I was like, man, I don't comprehend these words. Yeah. I don't know what I'm reading it every day, but that don't mean nothing. They just letters on a piece of paper. So next I end up getting a dictionary so I can kind of understand like what the hell do these words mean? What do these sentences mean? How to break them down. Right. So I can really dissolve this information and put it in my head. Yeah. Once I started putting that information in my head and started getting it took me maybe another year after I got out the hole. It took me another year to really implement what the hell I was reading. Like I couldn't comprehend how to change. The book is phenomenal. The book is about changing your identity.
Yeah.
Right? And how to like mold and shape it. So the book is a surgeon. And the surgeon is working on people. He does plastic surgery. So he's messing with people that are like, hey man, I'm ugly. I need to change my nose and my lips. Right. Yeah. And he would make these people absolutely beautiful.
Oh wow.
Right. And then he would show them a mirror and be like, okay, how does it look? Yeah. And they're like, it still looks ugly. Right. Yeah. So he was doing test subject. And he was like, what? And he was doing men, women, right? So he was like, wait a minute. No matter what I do to their face, it doesn't linger in their mind. Like they still see the same thing in their mind, right? So he wrote this book called Psycho-Cybernetics that dealt with how to change your identity. Yeah. And he was saying there's a different identity that evolves in your brain. That's different than the outer, the physical, right? And if you can work on that point and that identity, you can change into anything that you want to be, right? You just have to get past that because what you might see might not be what everybody else sees, right? Yeah. There's an internal identity, then there's an external identity, right? So the internal is the one that you really need to work on because if you can work on that inner voice, right? Anything going on the inside, you can actually start to change yourself and then your outer kind of catches up with it. Yeah. Right? So I noticed like as time went on, even to this day, like when I pull up on people and I hang out with a lot of rich, wealthy white people, right? Yeah. They have no clue, bro, that I've done like 11 years in prison. Yeah. Right? No clue, right? I got tats and gang tats, all type of stuff on me, right? Long sleeves, they have no idea. And it's weird for me because like I see me as me, right? I see Ray who was gangbang. I see Ray who was a Crip, right? From Westside Phoenix. Yeah. So that's who I see in my mind. Yeah. They don't see that, right? Yeah. And that's what the book taught. And over time, I've worked on that internal, right? So long that I've developed the person that I am today. Yeah. Without even know, like in my mind, I still got those thoughts of like, yeah, I clip you, bro. I knock you over. Yeah. Like I take your shit. Yeah. Don't get it twisted. Yeah. But that's internal. Yeah. Right. On the outside, people don't see that. Yeah. Right. And it's just it's a weird concept when you
but I understand what you're saying.
It's a weird concept when people are like, oh, bro, you don't even know. Like I've changed my life and I've evolved. Yeah. Right. But my internal identity is you don't even know, bro. I take all your shit. Yeah. And just be like that. I'll be cool with it. I got no problems with it. I can sleep at night. Yeah. Right. That's that internal identity. Yeah. The external identity is what people see. Yeah. When you can change those two, right? Then you start to develop. Yeah. And it took me maybe a full year of kind of testing it and playing around and just moving and I had to fight through it. I was fighting cellmates. So I had a TV and I would put my TV to the side. Yeah. Right. And I would tell my cellmate, because I had some cellmates that didn't have no TVs, right? So I'm like, they watching the game and gambling and shit. I'm like, hey, nigga, we putting the TV up today, right? They like, what? They ain't putting no TV up. Like, nigga, this is my TV. Yeah. We putting the TV up, and we gonna work out. And they're like, nah, we ain't working out. Nigga, put your hands up. Yeah. Run it. Yeah. Right? I had to go through these changes of, this is what I do now, right? And I started working out. I started reading a little bit, and I started changing. Yeah. And even in that, like to evolve in that, I had to change everybody else's identity at the same time. Yeah. Right? Because they see the old you and they're like, who this new dude? Yeah. Right. And they don't want to accept it. And it took me a full year, bro, to just get to that point of like, this is the new me. Yeah. This is who I am now. That I don't know who that was in the past, but this is the new me.
I felt that to my core, man, because like for me around maybe like my late 20s, early 30s, I had to be like, all right, I dodged jail. I need to change my social circle. Like, I don't know how many opportunities I'm gonna keep having, but it's really the people that I'm around. So I need to change in my social circle. I figured out who I am, or at least who I want to be, who I feel like I am inside. And that voice you do hear inside, like, yeah, that voice does flare up sometimes, and it's there. Especially, I get triggered. It'll be like an out of town dude or something. Be like, Arizona ain't got no hoods and some shit like that. And I'll be like, nigga, shit ain't sweet out here. And I'll be like,
Everybody
that's,
do that.
you know what I mean? And that's triggering for me. But I'd be like, it ain't really worth nothing though. So I had to, like, in my mind, be like, that ain't worth nothing. Like, just whatever. And yeah, when I changed my social circle, that helped me change my thoughts. And I still have like those eternal thoughts, but they're like controlled now. They're like managed. It's almost like a little person inside me, like, hey man, I'm here if you need me. I'll come out if you need me to come out, but I'm gonna just chill. You know what I mean? And it's an interesting thing. Like, I gotta read that book because I feel like the way you articulated that really explains how I feel about it too. Yeah.
And I think that's there's no book for Black people or Mexicans or Hispanics, right?
Yeah.
There's no book for us that kind of explains how that works.
Yeah.
Right. So me reading this book, it's like reading a foreign language.
Yeah.
Right. I got to listen to some white people talk about it. Right. And he's breaking it down from a scholaristic approach. Right. And he's a doctor at the same time. So he's using big words, and I got to break that down. There's no book that applies to we're trying to like figure things out of like, okay, I'm the good girl now.
Yeah.
Right. I'm no longer, the bad bitch that I was. Right. Now I got kids and I work at this call center.
Yeah.
Right. But my manager's talking shit to me, and she don't know I'm about to pop off.
Conflict resolution, right?
So internally, like, we don't have books that really deal with all this.
Yeah.
Figure out like this nigga don't know me. Like, this manager don't know. Like, I knock her off real quick. Like, I take her to the parking lot and give her the fade.
Yeah.
So when we growing and we trying to change, that little internal voice kicks in, and then we're trying to figure out what to do with it. Right?
Yeah.
Do we let it ruin our lives? Do we let it change us? Right? And that when you compartmentalize that, it's so tough to do so, right? Or to figure out, like, how do I do it? How do I, like, I hear you. I know you talking to me.
Yeah.
Right. Do I answer it?
Yeah.
Or do I say, that identity is no longer me?
Yeah.
Right. And then walk away. That's real for Black people, bro. That's a challenge.
Yeah.
Huge challenge.
Super challenge. And I will say, once you manage it, it becomes a superpower, because you've already gone through some of the most stressful shit a person can think of. And when you deal with, corporate bullshit or whatever stressors in your life, like, I've already gone through the shits. You know what I mean? I've already gone through some of the toughest situations. This is kind of light work right now compared to what I've gone through, and I'm able to manage that. So you got that book, it took about a year to kind of get the comprehension, and you're reading the dictionary. When did you decide, like, I want to make some money now, like, legally, right? Like, I want to enter the legal space of making money, or, you know what I mean? Because if you're being a felon, trying to go get a job, trying to enter the corporate world, you pretty much gotta go work for yourself. You gotta go find a job for yourself, or you gotta go do one of the jobs that they let felons do. So how did you make your choice, and, like, how am I gonna make bread?
So mine started in prison. I had a cellmate, old dude. His name is Harry Lewis. Anybody watching this, you can look him up, right? Dude was known as a cyanide killer.
Oh,
and
shit.
he was the Mesa Community College coach. And his wife cheated on him with his best friend, and then he put cyanide in their drink and tried to kill everybody, right?
Oh.
So this was my cellmate at the time.
Oh, damn.
And I remember when I got out the hole, he was my cellmate, and I was getting into it with the officers, right? And one of the officers, he was telling me I needed to shave, and I was like, bro, I ain't shaving. Like, you don't know me like that. Like, kick rocks, keep it moving, right?
Yeah.
He was like, well, if you don't shave, you ain't coming out the cell. I was like, all right, cool. So they popped the door, right? And as soon as they popped the door, right, I ran right up to him. I was like, "What's happening? Like, what you talking about? I'm not saving, bro. I'm about to go to chow and do my thing. You got a problem with it? What's happening?" He was like, "Nah, man, you need to lock down. You tripping, right?" So they end up locking me down and locking my cellmate down. And this dude, he old, bro. He like 60, 70 at the time.
Yeah.
And he sit me down. He like, "Listen, young brother, what did you achieve right now?" Right? I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here. I don't know what you talking about." Right? I was like, "They about to bring me my plate. That's all I know." Right? I ain't got to go to shower. They about to bring me my plate. That's what I achieved. And he was like, "Man, you didn't achieve shit. You didn't do nothing." He was like, "You just ruined my time." He said, "I'm old. I need to get out and exercise. Now I can't get out and exercise and do what I need to do because I'm locked down here with you." Right? He said, "In my younger days, we would have went at it. But he said, I'm older now and I'm a little bit more wiser, so I'm trying to put you on game." I'm like, "Oh, nigga, miss me with all that." Right. Over a period of time, he kept lacing me up in that manner, right? And I noticed this dude, everybody didn't like this dude. Nobody liked him because he was used to like writing you up, right? He was a legal beagle, what they call him in there. And I noticed this dude had mad store underneath his bunk, right? Like he had like 6, 7, 8 boxes of store, right? And everybody would come to him and be like, "Yo, Mr. Harry, let me get some chips and stuff." He'd be like, "Man, I ain't got shit," right? I was a cellmate, and I was like, "This nigga got loads of shit. I know he do."
Yeah.
And one day, I got into it with an officer, threatened him, and he was like, What did that achieve? You like, is you really gonna live off that threat?" I said, "Hell yeah. Like if he tested, I'm popping off." He was like, "Bro, it ain't even worth it."
Yeah.
So I ended up getting a disciplinary ticket for the threat. And he was like, "Look, I'm gonna help you out." He said, he looked at my stuff and he was like, "I'm gonna help you beat this. Right? I'm gonna show you a different way of doing things." So I ended up doing an appeal. I lost the appeal. And I was like, "Man, this is some bullshit. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna whoop his ass next time I see him." He was like, No. Watch." So I did the appeal all the way up to like the warden, right? Because the dude didn't have no witnesses. He ain't nothing. And we tested. We contested everything. And I ended up winning it when it got all the way up to the deputy director, right? I won it. I was like, "Oh, man, I've been taking L's for the police forever," right? So I was like, this is the first time I won, and it felt good, right? So I was like, damn, I just beat this. I won. I was like, I like this. What is this? He was like, "Man, you gotta start learning about the law," right? So I started going to the library. I started hanging out, started reading like disciplinary reports and all their policies. And I was like, I like this. And I was winning everything that I had.
Yeah.
And I had a moment where my pops put me on to, like, in there, they feed you poorly. So my pops put me on, was like, "Hey, get on the Islamic diet, right? Get on the Muslim diet." So I got on the Islamic diet. I was eating hella good. But the chaplain at the time was Christian. And I had bought some meat from Canteen. And then was, I was running the store. So I was, slinging stuff. So I was buying whatever, right? I bought some meat and he took me off my diet. And he was like, "Oh, you can't have this diet no more because you said the food ain't halal. Why is you buying it from the store?" And I was like, "Damn, you can't do that."
Yeah.
Right? But he did, right? So I'm like, how are you even checking my store when I'm buying? I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to my cellmate and he was like, you need to file a grievance. You need to do this. So I listened to everything he did. It went all the way up. I ended up doing a lawsuit that I made. I settled for $6,000.
Oh, wow.
And I got my diet back, right? So in prison, like, that's big money.
That's
right?
big, yeah.
I'm penitentiary balling, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first time I seen like some real money, and I was sending money to my family. Like my bro was going through some situations in life at that time, and I remember I sent him like $800 to pay his rent. Right, I'm in prison, right? So I sent him $800. Like, "I got you. Here you go." That really put me on. Like, man, I need to make money. Like, how can I make money? Like, no one's really taught me how to make money besides like I was a jack boy, right? A burglar, a robber.
Yeah.
That's how I used to make money.
Yeah.
Not really into dope dealing and all that other stuff, right? Like, I just robbed people.
Yeah.
So I needed to make some money, and I ran into a book called Dean Gracioso, real estate book. And it was showing me how to like put up bandit signs, door knock, cold call people to really buy some assets in real estate. So I started gobbling that book up, and I was like, man, I'm gonna do this when I get out. As soon as I get out, I'm gonna do this. It didn't happen that way. It took me some time, but that was the first thing that really put it in my mind to really just grow myself and like, hey, I got a different path that I need to start shooting at. So once I get out, I know I'm gonna start putting up bandit signs and I'm gonna start cold calling and doing all this extra stuff that I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
It never happened that way though.
It never does. I mean, in theory, like sounds good and that's the way you wanted to go, but you know, life happens. So when you got out, what was your first I guess employment or money making experience? Like did you go right into real estate or where'd you start it, man? And you can be as transparent as you like. I continue to rob people for the next several.
Nah, I got on a different, like I wasn't trying to go back at all, right? So as soon as I got out, the like reality hits you when you get out.
Mm-hmm.
One, don't nobody fuck with you. I mean, nobody.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you get out, there's a 2-week, 3-week period. Some people it lasts for a long time than that, right?
Yeah.
So like, I don't care if you get out with your girlfriend. I don't care if you get out to your mom, your sister, whoever, right? Whoever you're staying with, that's the person looking out for you. Mm-hmm. But they got a life.
Yeah.
And you realize real quick that they got a life. Right. Mm-hmm. So they like, all right, you got clothes, food. All right.
Place to stay.
I got to go to work.
Yeah.
All right. I got to do this. I got to do that. So you just like, damn. Okay. I got to get moving then. I got to get some motion. I need some traction. I got to start doing something too. Mm-hmm. Most cats go back to the streets because that's all they know. Yeah. All right. So I was like, I'm not going that path. I'm going to do something different. So I was like, let me start getting some jobs. Right. Mm-hmm. So I started applying to places. I learned how to do resumes.
Yeah.
I applied for Amazon. Right.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I've been locked up for about 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when I was 14. So I applied to Amazon, and Amazon asked me some questions, right? And Amazon said, have you committed a crime in the last 10 years? Right? So I was like, no.
Nope.
Right?
Yeah.
The second one was, have you been probation or something for the last 7 years, right? No. Yeah. Right? So I didn't fit none of those categories. So I got the job, and I went to an interview for Amazon. And when I got there, the lady was like, everybody getting badges and everybody getting vests and everything, right? But me, right? So I'm sitting in the room. I'm like, yo, what's up? What's happening? Like, well, I'm going to work. Mm-hmm. And the lady was like, hold on, we need to talk to you. Mm. Right? I'm like, okay. Like, I'm getting a promotion or I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm getting a good job. The lady she don't come back. She sends another girl in there. They give me a card. We're like, hey, you need to call this number. And you gotta leave. I'm like, this is weird. So I go home. I call the number. The number was like a voice recording, and it's telling me I didn't pass the background check to call this other number. So I call this other number. I finally get a hold of somebody. Like, yo, bro, what the fuck? What's up?
Yeah,
y'all could have told me this in person. Like, what's happening? And they were like, oh, well, you lied on your application. I said, where? She said, well, we asked you, did you have a felony background? I said, no, it says, did you have a felony background in the last 10 years? Yeah. I haven't. She's like, well, that's not what it meant to say, right? She said, we know that you recently just got out of prison, right? I said, but it didn't ask me that. Mm-hmm. I ain't committed a crime in 10 years, right? And they was like, well, you don't get the job, right? I was like, that hit me. I was like, this is some bullshit, bro.
Damn.
This is some bullshit. So when I went around, everywhere I went, I couldn't get a job. I was putting in resumes, and I went on this cycle that most cats be on is like, I'm putting out resumes, right? I was really in that loop, putting out resumes, and I was trying to figure out like, bro, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm putting them out, but I'm putting in real effort. And I'm not bullshitting. I'm really putting in effort, and I didn't master resumes at this point where I'm giving you a full-blown resume, 2-3 pages, bro, and giving it to you. I went to a day labor place, got me a job. They hired me. And from that point on, bro, I was working. Every day I went and got a bike. Mm-hmm. I went and got a bike, a bus pass. And I was biking to work and just making little daily. I started putting money in my pocket from just little day labor. It's called labor force. I went to labor force, was really making money and was like, okay, I know how to get money. Bump all that background stuff. Yeah. I ended up working for a recycling company. And as soon as I was in there, I noticed like I was the only black dude. And we in Arizona, so we know how that is.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, there's a whole bunch of Mexicans and they in right now. So how can I get in? How can I get working? Right. And once I really got in, I realized, like, bro, I started putting crazy work ethic. Work ethic was crazy. Like, they working 10, I'm doing 12s.
Yep.
I'm asking for it. Well, how much? What else you got? How many hours you want? Anything the boss like, I would do it. Any pet peeve he had, I made sure I stepped game on it. Like, okay, he don't like when the yard is dirty, right? I'm gonna sweep up after hours, not get paid, right? Really clean it up,
Yeah.
right? Just because I had to stand apart from these dudes because they already in based on language and color, right? So I was like, I'm already behind, and I ain't going back, and I ain't going to the streets either. And I just started working, bro. Got working, grinded hard till I got a spot, permanent.
Bro, like, when did you look into getting your record expunged, or is that what's called when you get it, taken off?
Yeah.
What was that? So you laughing about it. So was that not a possibility?
Nah, not for me. Nah, cause so you can get your record. Like, I got a lot of homies who got their records expunged. My record, I can't get expunged. I can.
Yeah.
But I got restitution. My restitution is $500,000.
Okay. Yeah.
So until I pay off that $500,000 first, I can't get it expunged.
Yeah. Okay. Now.
I'm looking for a loan, man. Loan me some money, man.
Bro, we're gonna have to do a part 2 of this conversation because we just kind of highlighted the I guess you want to call it the change aspect, or maybe the beginning, but I want to get more into the real estate and the more business mind that you have. And we're gonna have to pivot here. I gotta take my kids to go see Captain America. But I would love it for you to come back, man. Can I get you back?
Yeah, let me go.
Yeah. Okay.
We got to.
And then, I want to chop it up to you, like, with you more about just making more content and stuff, because your story is amazing, and it's something that I feel like people need to hear, especially young Black boys, young brown people. Like, it's the game that you're dropping, the game that you received and that you're sharing with them. I think is something that can be helpful and useful for them. So
So it's weird because my mentor is a really, really cool, wealthy lady, right?
Yeah.
And white lady, we were hiking, and I was telling her, she was asking me about my life, and I was telling her some stories. I had went on a run. I was in Colorado on the run. I had my own apartment. My pops just gave me an apartment and dipped off when I was 14. Was like, you want to be a man now, commit crimes? Yeah, you go. Right. So I got my own apartment, and he gave me a job, Sprint. I'm selling cell phones. It didn't work out for me because I ain't like cold calling. I was too young for that. And I ended up stealing. I used to steal cars.
Yeah.
Drive them into gas stations and steal liquor and tobacco. And when my pops got back from out of town, I had the full apartment loaded with inventory. And I was telling my mentor this, and she was just like, "Why you good? Like, you was doing that at 14?" I was like, "Man, I got stories I could tell you that just I was a little thuggy little kid. That's how I was." So I was like, so many stories, bro, I can drop off to really push people out. Like, I went from this knucklehead, bro, to multi-millionaire now.
Yeah. Bro, that's fascinating. We're gonna get into it. Hey, everybody, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Do you want to drop social medias? Do you want people to start following you right now? Or
Yeah,
drop your socials. Let people know how they can get in contact with you or find you.
Instagram, Facebook, the same.
Okay.
I'm on X and other stuff, but if you go to Instagram, it's Ray_Spencer_ the banker. That's where you can find me at, and DM me, link up with me. Some of you guys are out here in Phoenix. You can pull up to me, come to a property. We can get in there. I'm cool. I'm low key the coolest dude on planet Earth.
Yeah, for sure. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching today's episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and tap in for part 2 of my conversation with Ray. We're gonna be right back with it. Hey, everybody. Thank you for watching the podcast. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more episodes.